1. OR.IE. Which of the following describes Pareto charts? The relationship between the reason and the result is summarized systematically and organized into a fishbone-looking graph, shedding light on any related factors to a particular outcome. B. The dispersion of the data in chronological order is expressed in a line graph, and utilizing control limit lines, it is managed in an objective way. C. The collected data is divided into several sections. The data from each of the sections are drawn up in a bar graph, and the dispersion of the quality could be pinpointed. D. Dividing the data into a few different items, putting the items into a bar graph, whilst lining them up by the size of their appearance frequency. The accumulative sum would then be drawn up in the line graph, and the pointer issue would be narrowed down. So which one of these is the best description of a Pareto chart? So what is a Pareto chart? A Pareto chart has a horizontal axis that deals with the items and a vertical axis that deals with the number of items or the sales. A bar graph is then drawn from arranging items in increasing order of their size, and the accumulated distribution ratio of the items is expressed by a line graph. So you can see it is a combination of a bar graph and a line graph. The higher ranked items, the extent of the percentage they assume within the whole group is known, and ABC analysis is employed. This is effective for devising any important countermeasures. The answer in option A was describing something called a fishbone diagram. The relationship between the characteristics and its primary factors affecting these characteristics is organized and summarized systematically into a graph similar in shape to a bone of a fish. Hence the name fishbone diagram. Using this along with a Pareto chart, it would be useful for organizational purposes, recommending any important pointers for improving the quality plus accumulating knowledge and skills. Here is an example of a fishbone diagram. The central spine is the incorrect deliveries, and stemming from incorrect deliveries are various possibilities why they can happen. The categories are organized into transport, procedures, skills, and communication. Each of these branches have sub-branches which stem out of them. For example, in communication, there could be problems with lack of information, telephone orders, picking slips, and ambiguity, which all comes under the headline of communication. This shows an easy way to look at main causes of a particular problem. Option B was in fact talking about a control chart. A control chart is a graph that visualizes the result of the characteristics and dispersion on a time axis. It's a graph that enables one to see whether or not a process is stable. To an extent, it does not only deal with the management of any problems that occur, but also is useful in situations where one might want to verify the outcome of any improvement. When employed for production management, the vertical axis deals with the number of inferior goods, and the horizontal axis deals with the date, and UCL, upper control limit, and an LCL, lower control limit line, calculated statistically, are drawn parallel to the horizontal axis. The amount of inferior goods is plotted every day, and if it does not lie within the management limit, then one would know that there was something abnormal occurring in that particular day. Take a look at this example of a control chart. Immediately visible are the two control limit lines, the upper control limit, or the UCL, and the lower control limit, or the LCL. Running through the center is the center line, and you have the plotted points in chronological ascension. Now the idea is that you can see if there are any points lying outside of the control limit lines, and then you would know that there was something abnormal occurring in that particular day. Option C describes a histogram. Histograms, based on certain conditions when there is a large set of data, organizes them in the following way. The vertical axis deals with frequency, and the horizontal axis deals with the different classes. With a histogram, one can see clearly in one glance that the dispersion as a whole on one single graph. With this significant amount of columns standing, this has been referred to as a histogram. By creating a histogram, one could answer the following questions. With the large amount of data as a whole, what kind of shape is it? Or, with the set of data, where is the center of dispersion? And what kind of dispersion is it? And comparing to the standards of the data, where, if any, does the poor quality ones lie? And finally, the average of the data and dispersion, statistically speaking, what value does it come to? And so histograms are extremely useful in quickly giving answers to these statistical questions. Therefore, the description which is best suited for a Pareto chart was given in option D. So option D is the correct answer.